Today we're going to talk about the Flir Scout TK and some of the issues that I've had with it and how to fix them. First of all, this is a very useful product for around the homestead. I find that it's been useful to try to find predators at night when you can hear them calling and you want to try to see where they're at and mitigate those issues. It can also be used to find your animals if they get outside of your fencing. The second use that I've had it for is to find any of the heat loss that we've had during the winter. So winters get pretty cold here. We do go through quite a bit of wood, and we try to mitigate that by going outside the property and looking at where the windows the really glow red, where you're losing heat, and anywhere else around the house. So you can just go around slowly to find those issues. So the biggest issue I've had pretty much since day one, that there is a battery draw issue. So if you don't have it plugged in, you go to use it, you hear an animal or something out in the night, you go to grab it, and it is stone dead. So which doesn't really help you when you want to try to find that predator and your item's not working. So I decided to start keeping it plugged in all the time, which then I thought would keep the battery charged up. What seemed to be the issue with that is when I did go to use it, the battery life was just really terrible. I mean, you might get like 10 or 15 minutes runtime out of it, which just really wasn't going to work. So I did find that you can actually replace the battery. Previously, before this was discontinued, I had read it was, I mean, this is when it was new, I think between $500 and $600, that you could send it to Flir and they would replace the battery. I think was between $200 and $300, so pretty expensive. But they no longer offer that option since this is discontinued. So I did find that this is actually self-serviceable, and I'll show you guys about that. So first off, I'm going to take this back apart with this 3D printed mount that I made. So I designed this to hold this battery pack. So we'll show you why we have that, but I'll first show you how to disassemble this to do the battery replacement, which needs to be done, which should be done first. So I'm just going to take these two screws off and show you how that goes together. All right, so I have that 3D printed mount off of there. So we're going to show you how to take this apart and replace the battery. First, all you need to do is get underneath this rubber over molding. So this dental pick's going to come in use later. So get up over that edge, and I have taken this off already, so that's why it's a little bit easier. So we're just going to pull that over halfway. So what it's going to expose is 4 screws in here. So we're going to take the appropriate size screwdriver and get these screws out of here, and be careful not to lose them or scratch your lens in the process. So this really didn't take much time at all to get this apart, but you are going to have to be careful. Once we get these screws off, you're going to see there's a ribbon connector that connects that sensor in the front to the board. So we're just going to pull this out gently, and you're going to see a couple things here. You're going to see that ribbon that I was talking about, so we're going to be careful that we don't want to rip that out. You are going to see this gasket in here, so we're going to want to make sure that's seated in place when we go to reassemble this. So what we're going to have is the battery. It has this kind of foam cover on it. So just going to slide this out gently. And really that's all there is to it. You can take your dental pick and get in here and just gently pop that battery out. You're not going to want to pull these cables. Initially, when I replaced the battery, I was pulling on the cables and actually pulled the wires from the little connector. So I have a new battery to show you. So this battery, the replacement battery, comes completely set up and ready to go. It has the little board on here for the charging, so it doesn't overcharge. It has the factory connector and everything. So you can see, hopefully that shows up a little bit. The little tabs on there that you're going to want to get your dental pick on to pull that out, and the new battery is going to go right in. So you're going to want to take the foam off of the original battery, rewrap the replacement battery, plug it in, and we're just going to reassemble it that way. So this is the new battery that I had in here. What I did, because they weren't very expensive, I believe they were $18 each. So given the shipping cost, I just bought a spare one just to have it on hand. So then we're going to reassemble this. We're going to want to be careful with this molding. So we're just going to slide this back gently in. I'm just reversing the process. So it's only going to go so far. We're going to want to make sure that gasket, where are we here? It's lined up. Let's just put a finger on it. And we're just going to put these, screw these screws back in. So I'll put this back together and we'll show you the rest of the part that we made to mitigate some of the other issues that we had. All right, once we get those screws back in place, we're going to pull this over molding and we're just going to get this seated back on the front here. And this does stick down like somewhat with the adhesive that was on there. A little bit of extra double-sided tape, if you have some, a new strip of double-sided tape really wouldn't be a bad idea, just to keep that down. I am going to put the part number for the battery and where to get it in the description. So we're just going to DigiKey.com for the battery, and they had a whole bunch of them in stock when I had bought mine. So, and given the lifespan, like I said, I bought an extra just to have it. So we're just going to get this tape on there, peel that back. We want to make sure that front's in place when we stick this down. Just going back through. All right, now we should be all set. So there was a slight difference with the battery. The replacement battery, it's the exact same brand. There's just a few differences. It is a little bit higher milliamp hours, which is going to be better for your battery life. The voltage is slightly different. I believe the factory was 3.7 volts and this is 3.6. It works fine. It works just fine. I did notice initially when I replaced the battery, I had tried to power the unit on and it would not turn on at all. So I thought I had messed something up or broke something and it was defective. But when I plugged it in, it has the indicator light to show that it's charging, which it did show that it was charging, but it would not turn on. So I disassembled the whole thing, pulled the battery out, plugged in my portable charger, and it would actually turn on with just the portable charger and no internal battery. I thought that was kind of odd. So what I did was just plug the unit in putting the battery back in. I plugged the unit in for 24 hours and then everything was perfectly fine. It would hold the charge. It would power on with the charger still on it. So don't be scared if it doesn't power on right away with the new battery that you're going to have to charge it up. So with all those things being said, I still was worried about the battery drawdown issue. And when I went to use it, that it would not be charged anymore. And I also didn't want to continually have it plugged in and ruin the battery. So what I did was come up with this 3D printed clamp that would hold on a spare battery. So all this is this Energy QC. This is a $15 5,000 milliamp charger that I bought on Amazon. The reason I went with this, I specifically thought in my head with the design of the Flir being round that it would just be easier for me if I could find a round battery charger to make this clamp. Just in my mind, the way that I wanted to design it, it was just going to be easier. So it's only 15 bucks. Any other charger that's a 1-inch, this is a 1-inch diameter charger, anything else like that would work. So all this is, it clamps on really easy. We're actually going to put this 3D printed file on our website, homesteadtwins.com. So if you want to download the STL file for this so you can 3D print it yourself, we're going to have it right on our website for free. I've used it so far. Everything looks good. You're going to obviously have to buy your own hardware. It's designed for 1032 screws. So these are just some stainless screws we picked up at the hardware store and some nuts to go with it. So this clamp's really simple. It's designed to go over the eyepiece, and we're going to obviously tighten that in. And with the way that the charger, this sits alongside, kind of a side mount deal as we shown in the first part of the video. So once we tighten this up, you know, I also did specifically buy these little baby length cables. So it's a micro USB. I did have to slightly modify, if you can see that in the video. I had to shave this down just with how recessed the charge port is on this, that it's really far in there. I just had to shave that down so it actually fit. So far so good. This battery charger does not continually charge the device like it would on your phone. So I'm going to take a little bit of time, get this mounted back up, and I'll show you what I mean by that. All right, now we have our device clamped back together. So that just takes a simple Phillips screwdriver and a 3/8 wrench. So the main purpose with this is obviously going to be to extend the battery life. So when you have this plugged in, this is 5,000 extra milliamps on top of the bigger 3,350 milliamp battery that we just installed. So what I was saying before we cut the video was that it seems like with this charger, with this battery charger, it's not constantly putting power like once it gets charged up. So to just check the life of the charger, in case you need to put more juice in here, is you just push where the circle is. So you can see it's got 2 out of the 4 lights, so it's half charged. So you can just push that and it's going to start charging, which we can see our indicator light there. So I wouldn't recommend keeping this plugged in all the time, but when you do want to go use it, that you can just simply keep this clamp together, plug this back in, and you have much more battery capacity than what it had to start with. So if any of you guys have these devices, you know, it was fairly expensive, and now that they're discontinued, if you just have it sitting in a drawer because it's not taking a charge or the battery life is just crap, this is a great way to service this and get it back in use. So check out homesteadtwins.com. We're going to put up this STL file for you guys to 3D print your own clamps, and keep an eye on our other videos. We do more homestead content. We have new animals and fencing projects and all sorts of things going on the YouTube channel. So subscribe if you guys want more content like that, or if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button.